for a shooting at the U.S. Capitol. Report of multiple injuries, requesting the ambulance, the police, and the supervisor, reporting that the shooter is down.
That's how dispatch put out the call late this afternoon. The good news tonight is that no one died. Only the suspected gunman was seriously injured. Good evening. I'm Bruce Johnson. The Capitol back to normal tonight, and the suspect is in the hospital and in custody. Capitol Police say 66-year-old Larry Dawson, who's from Tennessee, walked into the visitor center, took out a weapon, and pointed it at the screener. Ellison Barber is live outside the U.S. Capitol with the latest on what happened. Ellison.
Well, around 2:40 this afternoon, police say an adult male tried to go into the Capitol's visitor center. They say that he walked through the screening area, that anyone who wants to go inside has to go through first. They say that is when he stopped and pulled out what appeared to be a gun and pointed it at officers. At least one officer fired their gun back and hit the suspect, now identified as Larry Dawson. And Dawson was taken to the hospital, and according to the Capitol Police Chief, he was taken into surgery right now. Last we heard, his condition is unknown. Police say they recovered the suspect's car on Capitol grounds, but until recently they weren't publicly identifying him. But they did say earlier this afternoon that he is someone who is known to Capitol Police. And according to CBS, he is a man who was actually disruptive at a hearing last fall, a House congressional hearing, and they detained him at that time. Obviously, on a day like today, there were a lot of visitors at the Capitol. One couple we spoke to described all of the chaos happening inside.
We just heard this noise going on upstairs in the little balcony area, and then all of a sudden the employees, including the cafeteria employees, and the tour guides came up and said, "Take shelter, take shelter."
I did hear some shots, and I didn't know what was going on, but I heard, "Get down, get down."
Then they tell us to all, very quietly, they usher us into this room, sort of underground.
That couple told me they sheltered in place for about 45 minutes. There were some roads around the Capitol complex that stayed closed until about 5:30 this evening. Right now, it seems like the vast majority of them are all back open. Reporting live, I'm Ellison Barber, WUSA9.
Ellison, thanks for that. Remember, we're in the peak of spring tourist season, and the Capitol Visitor Center was packed when the shooting happened. The visitor from California shared his cell phone video with us, showing the chaos just moments after the gunshot. Take a listen.
Where are we going? Where are we going? All right, stay with me. So we've been asked to evacuate. We're in the Capitol building, and we've been told to come into this theater here. So I'm not sure what's going on. It's pretty crazy out there. So here we are.
Gunshots reported at the Capitol Visitor Center. All staff move to your shelter-in-place location due to police activity and take emergency equipment and visitors. If you are not in your office, take shelter in the nearest office.
Again, that cell phone video from Dan Sweats. You can see Capitol workers ushered everybody into the media presentation room, and after the loudspeaker announcement, everyone was quiet. D.C. Congressional Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton is praising U.S. Capitol Police for their handling of the incident tonight. She calls it first-class policing, but she also says it should caution members of Congress who keep trying to overturn the district's gun safety laws. Norton was inside the U.S. Capitol when the shots were fired. Now, because of the lockdown, she had to postpone a class she teaches at Georgetown University. Early into the investigation, police focused on this silver pickup truck. It turned out to belong to the suspected gunman. Garrett Haig joins us now with what we know about the suspect. Garrett?
Bruce, Larry Russell Dawson of Antioch, Tennessee is still in surgery tonight, even as the public and law enforcement are learning much more about this man and about the troubles he has had here at the Capitol before. Now, you just mentioned his truck. Tonight, police are waiting on a search warrant and a tow truck so that they can move that truck somewhere they can search it properly. They've had it surrounded for hours, and they believe Dawson drove it here from his Nashville area home. He has been here before, as Ellison alluded to. Capitol Police would remember Dawson well from an incident in the House Gallery last October. On the 22nd of October, he stood up in the gallery and began shouting religious context, talking about being a messenger from God, quoting Bible verses down to the congressman below. When officers moved to detain him, he allegedly assaulted them while trying to escape. A judge ordered Dawson to stay away from the Capitol while awaiting trial, but when his court date came up in November, he didn't show up. Then in January, he sent the court a letter claiming to be, quote, a true prophet of God who would not submit to man's law, and said he had no intention of coming back to face those charges. He wasn't seen here again until today. Now, coming up at 11, we'll talk a little bit more about his church and his beliefs and what might have driven Dawson to return to the Capitol today, allegedly carrying a weapon. Reporting live at the Capitol, Garrett Hake, WUSA9.
Thanks for that. The shooting at the Visitor Center also prompted the White House to briefly go into lockdown. This is a live look at the first family's home. The lockdown happened during the Easter egg roll, which is one of the White House's biggest events of the entire year. And this year, some 35,000 people attended the annual tradition, and some of them were still there during the lockdown. WUSA9's Cam Thompson got some reaction.
For about 30 minutes this afternoon, between about 3 and 3:30, the White House and the area surrounding it was sent into lockdown. A spokesman for the U.S. Secret Service says this was done as a routine precautionary measure because of the shooting at the U.S. Capitol, and they shut down the north and south fence lines. Now, it was already busy here today because of the White House Easter egg roll, but the people who were inside for the roll and when the lockdown happened say things were not chaotic.
I think I saw a guy running in the back with a machine gun. And that's what caught my attention, because it was like, I didn't see anybody doing that through the entire Easter event.
We were in the safest backyard in the world.
Yes,
so
that's how I felt.
We were, I felt we were fine.
Now, about 45 minutes after that initial lockdown, Secret Service again pushed people back from the White House fence line here into Lafayette Park. And that shutdown lasting about 30 minutes before they allowed people back onto the road. Reporting from Lafayette Park, Cameron Thompson, WUSA9.
The Secret Service also dealt with a separate issue at the White House Easter egg roll today. It seems a woman who didn't have a ticket to the event was arrested for attempting to move a temporary security barrier. News of the shooting spread fast on Twitter, propelling it to the #1 trending topic in all of D.C. This woman shared a picture of photographers leaving the White House briefing room to take pictures of the increased police presence instead. And Ron Haskell tweeted a photo of what he was seeing: heavy police and fire response to a reported shooting in the Capitol. Helicopters now, too. Of course, we'll continue to follow any Capitol shooting developments all night long on the free WUSA9 app. We'll also send out breaking news alerts with any new details. Just ahead tonight on WUSA9 at 7, the deadly chain of events that led to today's shutdown of the busy Northeast Rail Corridor.
All right, winds are still gusting 35 miles per hour downtown and in Frederick. In fact, they gusted to 49 miles per hour at National. We'll come back. We'll tell you who's under the wind advisory, when it expires. We'll talk about when the winds finally leave us alone.